A small party is happening at Herbie's house. Music is playing. Drugs are on the table. Herbie, Saz, and Tuff are drowned in a drug-fueled haze. After a while, Herbie gets up. He stumbles to the door, and his heart stops. A man is standing there. He is wearing a military gas mask. He just stares. Terrified, Herbie slams the door and runs back inside, screaming. He grabs his two companions, Saz and Tuff, and tells everyone, "Richard has come to kill us." They all come outside and look around, but they can't see anyone anywhere. Everyone tells Herbie that this is his illusion. "You are just too scared. You have to forget him. That man can't do anything to us." But after saying this, as soon as they enter the house, they find something written on the wall. Their drugs are missing. They realize whoever doing this is very clever. When they all went outside, he came inside. He was toying with them. And if he can come inside like this, he can come into the house at any time and do anything to anyone. This means they need to be vigilant. As soon as morning comes, all three of them go to their boss, Sony, to tell him this. But as soon as their boss comes out, they see that someone has painted a Joker mark on his face. When Sony sees this in the mirror, his condition also worsens. When he was sleeping, someone came into his house and painted a mark on his face. They are still talking when the rest of their team members, Big Al and John, also arrive there, and both are in the same state as Sony, with their hair all colored. Everyone is angry. They are so feared, yet someone is messing with them like this. To understand the man in the mask and why he's turning these gangsters into clowns, we have to go back. At the start of the movie, we are shown old videotapes. We see two children, the older brother, Richard, and the younger brother, Anthony. We are shown how good their childhood was and how they grew up together. Richard was always around Anthony since childhood, taking special care of him because Anthony is mentally impaired. Richard grew up, but Anthony's mind remained that of a child. Richard was his only protector. Then, when they grew up, Richard joined the army. Anthony had to get used to living without his brother. And in Richard's absence, the monsters came out. There's a group of drug dealers in town, the same men from the party, the men with the painted faces. They abused Anthony very badly, forcing him to do drugs, beating him. The worst abuse you can imagine was continuously inflicted on Anthony. Since there was no one to look after him, those people took advantage of that very fact. But now, Richard is back. He will not show mercy to anyone. God may forgive them, but he won't. In the morning, Richard goes into town to do reconnaissance. Then, both brothers go and sit in a club. This is Sony's club, and his office is above it. Inside, a member of that group, Herbie, is present, selling drugs. Richard just stares at him. He doesn't move. He doesn't speak. He just stares. Herbie is busy, but he gets disturbed by Richard looking at him. Finally, Herbie asks what he was looking at Richard. Already full of anger, shouts and curses. Seeing his anger, Herbie doesn't wait. He goes straight out and up to the office where Sony is sitting with Big Al and Gypsy John. Herbie takes drugs from Sony and has to go supply them. But as soon as he gets downstairs, Richard stops him. Herbie is terrified. Herbie is trapped. He's shaking. He knows who this is. He knows what he did. But Richard apologizes. He says he shouldn't have shouted. He extends his hand. "I'm sorry," he says. The moment Richard lets go, Herbie runs from there. He is terrified. He had recognized Richard. As they all grew up in the same town, he reaches his friend's house, Saz and Tuff, and the first thing he tells them is, Anthony's brother is back. Hearing this, both of them are shocked too. We are then shown flashbacks of how all of them together did wrong to Anthony. They would all call him to the house and torment him. Currently, both brothers are sitting at the farm. Richard says he has to go to town again for some important work. Anthony says he doesn't want to go, so Richard says he doesn't need to go. And that night is when Herbie's party happens, which we saw in our hook. Richard appears in the gas mask, steals the drugs, and paints the house. The next morning, the whole gang, with their painted faces, goes to confront a girl named Patty. They had forcibly made Patty get physical with Anthony, so now they are suspecting her. They forcibly try to make her spill the beans, even grabbing her daughter. But she's telling the truth. Finally, they are convinced she knows nothing, so they leave. But on the way, they meet Richard himself. Richard refused to run, instead merely standing his ground and moving Anthony to the side. Although the rest of the gang was terrified, Sony, the boss, approached him alone. Sony asked what Richard wanted. Richard stated that he was staying at the farm and that all of them should come there, and he would tell them. Sony, trying to maintain a tough facade, then asked if Richard was not scared. Richard laughed and retorted that Sony was the one who should be scared. He explained that if he had wanted to, he would have killed Sony when he was sleeping, but he had merely turned him into a clown and left. He concluded by advising Sony to worry about himself, not Richard. This was described as a total boss move. Acknowledging Richard's words and confirming that it was indeed Richard who had committed the act, Sony left. That night, however, as they were all sitting in the office, Sony decided that they had to go to the farm and shoot Richard. The gang agreed that they had to eliminate him, otherwise he would keep creating trouble. Meanwhile, John had gone to the washroom. When he did not return after a long time, they went to check and discovered that he was dead. Richard had hacked him with an axe and had written "1 down" on the wall with his blood. At this point, they too were trembling, as they now knew that everyone's number was up. They understood that Richard was not just playing games and that he would kill them. Consequently, they believed that before he killed them, they had to eliminate him first. The rest of that night, however, passed in shock. The next morning, the 5 men, Sony, Herbie, Saz, Tuff, and Big Al, reached the farm with a rifle which Sony was carrying. Big Al went forward to call Richard out. As soon as Richard emerged, Sony fired the gun, but the bullet hit Big Al in the head instead of Richard. Sony had been so overconfident that he had only brought 1 bullet, so now they had to run again. They had come to take Richard's life, but instead, they left after seeing their friend's life taken. Terrified, they sped away in the car. They yelled that Richard would not leave them alive and urged each other to run. The 4 remaining men ended up at a gas station, described as a refuge for the lost. Their fear had grown so immense that they could not understand what to do next. One thing was clear in Tuff's mind. He was not going back to town, but since no one else supported him, he ran off alone. He ran because the car had also broken down, just like their luck. The 3, Sony, Herbie, and Saz, started walking toward the town on foot. They believed that as long as they stayed together, they would be safe. By evening, they reached Sony's house. As soon as they arrived, all 3 immediately picked up weapons and went upstairs, fearing that Richard might be hiding in the house. He was indeed hiding in the house, but downstairs. As soon as the 3 went up, he put all their drugs, which he had stolen from Herbie, into the tea kettle. After searching, the 3 came down and comfortably drank tea, after which all 3 of them lost their minds. They had no idea where they were or what they were doing. Slowly, their vision and minds became blurry. Richard watched the 3 flailing in complete peace. Richard then joined them and had some fun, but quickly got to the point. He took Sony aside, covered his head with a plastic bag, and then shot him straight in the head. After this, he killed Saz too. He had a brief chat with Herbie, showing him a suitcase in which Tuff's body was twisted and fitted. Richard told him that he was a good person and that he would not kill him, but in return, Herbie had to tell him something. Richard just wanted to know about another member of their group, Mark. Herbie, desperate to live, told him Mark's address, where he lived with his family. In return, Richard hugged Herbie, then stabbed him with a knife and killed him too. Richard was clearly not going to spare anyone. He just needed to find out how many more people were involved so he could kill them like dogs. The next day, Richard and Anthony reached Mark's town. Mark's 2 sons went out to play and returned with a gas mask and a knife. They reported that some soldier had given it to them, and that the soldier had said that he knew their dad. As soon as Mark found this out, he took both children and asked where they had found that soldier and told them to take him there. However, the soldier was right outside the house. As soon as they left, he came to the house. He spoke to Mark's wife and instructed her to tell Mark that Anthony's brother had come. After saying just this, he left. When Mark returned, his wife told him that Anthony's brother had come. Hearing this, Mark too started trembling. He told his wife everything. Mark explained to his wife that Anthony was just a kid. He was underage, yet the group members would make him do drugs and abuse him because he was mentally impaired. Because of all of them, Anthony had taken his own life. He had died years ago because of the group's actions. That was why Richard was killing all of them. Richard explained that he had come to Anthony's funeral, which was when he suspected that there was some other reason behind Anthony's death. Richard had started investigating right then, and slowly he had found out everything. However, the Anthony who was walking around with him was only visible to him and no one else. Richard noted that he wasn't visible to Herbie in the club, nor to Sony on the street. In fact, no one had even taken Anthony's name until then. Everyone was just taking Richard's name. He realized that the Anthony walking around with him was his guilt. The guilt that he couldn't keep his brother safe despite keeping him close since childhood. He was doing all this to get rid of this guilt. Anyway, the next morning, Mark woke up to find Richard sitting with a knife to his throat. Richard took Mark to that same castle where Anthony had died. Taking him to the same shed, Richard asked Mark to tell him what had happened that day. Mark told him everything and also added that he hadn't stopped anyone, and this was his mistake. Richard then stated that he had settled the score for everyone else's mistakes, but someone had to settle the score for his mistake too. Here, Richard revealed that he also hadn't liked Anthony. Rather, Anthony had felt like a burden to him, and he had felt ashamed of him. Richard confessed that this was his real guilt. He concluded that he was now no less than those monsters, and therefore, he should die too. Handing Mark the knife, Richard told him to kill him. He spared Mark because Mark also had 2 sons, just as they were 2 brothers. Mark didn't want to do this, but under pressure, Richard forced him to. After killing Richard, Mark walked back toward his home, and with that, the movie ended. If you liked the video, please like it, and if you want more videos on revenge thrillers, definitely let me know by commenting.